Everyone in the courtroom thought this was just another routine hearing, until one moment flipped the entire room upside down. A nervous defendant stood silent, the lawyers froze, and even the gallery stopped breathing. No one expected the judge to say that sentence, and when he did, everything changed.
This chain that you sent was on July 11th of 2022. Do you see that on People's One in the middle of the front page?
Yes.
Okay, so on that day, that was July of 2022. Was there an election that was going to be coming up in the fall of 2022?
It was a special election in, I believe, August
Okay,
2022.
was that for the fire
No.
funding?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think in August 2022, the only thing on the ballot was a race for an open trustee seat.
okay. So there was a need for you as supervisor to appoint election workers or election officials. Is that true?
Well, not as supervisor per se, but as a member of the election commission, the three members of the three commissioners, the treasurer and the supervisor, had that responsibility.
Okay. And there was a debate between you and Ms. Flintoff, the clerk, as to whether or not to publish the names and addresses of the workers. Was that one of the issues that you were emailing about?
Well, yes, that was a question. That was part of the question. That morning, and that was.
Thank you. And then in 2023, there was another election that was going to be held, I think in November of 2023. Do you recall that? Sorry, not an election. I guess it was a vote on was it a vote on a funding for the fire department? Do you recall that?
Yeah, I think that's when the fire department came up.
Okay. And was that vote going to occur in November of 2023, if you recall? If you know, if you don't, it's not.
I think it's correct. It's embarrassing, but I can't tell you whether it's August or it must have been November because we were meeting in August. That would have been too late to be meeting during August election.
Okay. And shortly before this incident happened, in the fall of 2023, leading up to this election, or sorry, this I guess it's an election, regarding the vote on the funding of the fire department. In this time frame,
In today's hearing, tension was already building when the judge noticed something off in the defendant's story. At first, it seemed like a simple request for more time, but the judge wasn't buying it. His questions became sharper, the excuses became weaker, and the entire courtroom felt the pressure rising. Then, without raising his voice, the judge delivered a single sentence that ended the discussion instantly. The defendant's face dropped. The lawyers looked stunned, and the entire room fell completely silent. What happened next left everyone questioning what the defendant had been hiding all along.
did you come to learn of an email that the clerk Jessica Flintoff sent on August 5th, 2023 to 4 members of the board?
Did learn of that.
Okay.
And that helped me to understand the context for the email that was forwarded from my.
And so what the email that I'm talking about on August 5th, 2023, do you recall reading in the email that Jessica Flintoff warned or told the other members of the board that you might raise the same issue again, or that issue might come up regarding publishing the names and addresses of the election workers?
I'm going to object as to hearsay.
I'll overrule it. Go ahead, you can answer.
Okay, so your question is, was I aware of what Clerk Flintoff?
Yeah, I mean, you read the email, right?
Yes, I have now read the email. I heard of the email and was told of the exchange before I actually saw the email. I was not a recipient of the email at the time that it was sent in August.
When did you learn that the gist of the email in 2023? Was it prior to November 15th, 2020?
At this point, I can't tell you exactly when I learned of it.
Okay,
I didn't see it until much later.
all right. Well, the election in 2023, hadn't that already occurred on November the 7th of 2023, the election regarding the funding?
The fire.
Yeah.
Special assessment election would have already occurred, I believe.
Thank you. Now, after seeing that or learning of that email, you don't know when you did, but when you learned that Ms. Flintoff had sent an email saying that the issue regarding publishing the names could come up again, did you consider forwarding the email from Mr. Homier to Jessica Flintoff? Did you think about doing it?
Did she raise this?
Yeah.
Did I think of forwarding it? No.
You didn't consider forwarding the email in question, the July 11, 2022?
No. When I learned that Flintoff had brought up this issue again from 2022, I was surprised. I thought that was behind us. I had no interest in adding anything more to that researching content.
Did you ever search any of your boxes on your Outlook? I'm talking again about the Scioto Township email that you had. Did you ever look through, let's say, either your send box or your inbox to find that July 11, 2022 email that's at issue in this case? Did you ever look for it prior to November 15th, 2023?
No, not until after this happened. And then I did go back and try and trace my steps back. Yes, I hadn't really looked at that. And when I did see it again, I was sort of like, seemed like history.
So would you agree with this statement that you neither looked for that email nor considered sending the email?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Look for it and I didn't consider sending it.
Who is Steve Ranzini? Do you know who that is?
He's a banker, isn't he? And
I'm just asking you, do you know Steve Ranzini?
yes, just as a little context. I think if I'm thinking of the same person, I have met him. Yes.
Okay. And did you ever tell him that the email in question was in your draft emails and you never intended to send it, you never intended to send that email, but it was in your drafts? Did you ever tell Mr. Ranzini that email was in your drafts?
Which emails?
The email in question. Did you ever tell? Let me rephrase my question. Did you ever tell Mr. Steve Ranzini that you were going to forward that Mike Homier email that we're talking about? You were going to forward that to Jessica Flintoff, but you changed your mind. That's my question.
Oh, that conversation never occurred.
Okay. Do you ever check? Do you go on the? Well, let me ask you this. Do you know why? Are you aware that Mr. Ranzini posted to Facebook that you had told him that? Are you aware that he posted that? So there would be no reason for him to have posted that, as far as you know, correct? Okay. Would it refresh your memory if you looked at that post? Would that help you remember it or help you answer the question?
Is he remembering if he doesn't have any memory of it?
Withdrawn, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. And then what devices, when I say devices, I mean, first of all, how many devices were you using to access your Scioto Township email in November of 2023?
Well, let's see, I do most of my work on my laptop computer. And that travels back and forth with me from home. I also work on my,
I'm sorry, before you go to the second one, can I just ask you real fast about the first one? That laptop, are you talking about the SIO issued laptop or are you talking about a personal laptop? Like, is it a Mac?
I have a Simon Township issued laptop during the first 6 months. That's my challenge. But I prefer to use my Apple laptop, so I returned that to the township. I had another need for it, and so I gave it back. The other computer, to finish answering your first question.
Yes.
The desktop computer at my office at Scioto Township.
Okay. Okay, so you used a personal laptop, an Apple laptop, correct?
Yes.
You didn't use the SIO issued laptop, correct?
Not after the first few months. Scioto Township.
Okay, so like in November, let me back up. At any time in 2023, you were elected in 2020, correct?
Correct.
So at no time in 2023 were you using the SIO laptop. Is that fair?
Well,
I'm sorry, the SIO laptop that you had returned, that you had given back.
I went back into got repurposed to somebody else.
Understand. So am I right to say that they were really, well, hold on. What about your phone? Did you ever use your phone to send and receive emails?
I rarely do, but never use it for Scioto Township.
But you did use your personal laptop for official emails, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then that just leaves the SIO meeting laptop. Did you use the SIO meeting laptop, the one that Miss Carey was using on November 15, 2023? Did you ever use that laptop to with your emails?
Well, the only reason that I would use that is to launch a meeting. Remove that laptop from that room, and I never used it for anything except that purpose.
Do you know how your profile for Outlook, the Microsoft Outlook client, do you know how it got loaded or onto that joint Scioto Township laptop? Do you know who put you on there, put your profile on there? If you know.
Well, it's getting sort of technical area that I'm not that well versed in. My understanding is that the shared laptop in the meeting hall was set up in such a way that when one opened their Outlook email on that computer, it kept it open. That was, in essence, the security problem that existed. My one several that was open on that computer on November.
You know, I'm gonna object and ask that this be stricken, Your Honor, because he has no foundation to say what was opened or what wasn't open.
You asked him the question.
Okay,
Actually, it's in that report that you showed me earlier from Chris Bailey.
Hold on a second.
it's overruled. Okay.
So there were three emails that were.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. Hathaway, just give us 1 second, please. Does the court need a response or is the?
I do not need a response. I'm gonna let his answer stand.
Thank you so much.
You're not a technical person as far as computers. Is that fair to say?
Don't claim that I am, no.
And for instance, in this case, you tried to do a Zoom meeting request on November 13th of 2023. And you came to learn that it got sent out at some later time, correct?
At this point, it's a little difficult to remember all of the particulars of that struggle, but
Okay.
it basically stemmed from the person who usually posted the DDA agenda had taken off vacation days and was not there either at the end of the prior week or that day on Monday, the 13th of November, 2023. And so those of us who were there realized that a step had been missed. The Zoom link had not been posted and we were trying to solve it in her absence and struggling with it.
Okay. Well, so let me just finish up this one area. The devices you used, you did not use your phone. You said that, right? Did not use your phone
Never used my phone
for emails.
for kind of emails.
Okay. So just the personal laptop, the desktop at your office, and then did you have a computer at home that you used, like a desktop at home that you used to check emails, your SIO emails?
No, trying to remember if I ever used a desktop at home for that purpose. If so, it would have been back in 2021.
Okay. Okay. As far as using your personal Apple laptop for official business, were you advised that that was contrary to the policy of Scioto Township to use your personal devices?
Objection, no.
Overruled.
Subsequent to this incident, there was, I guess, kind of a message to that effect. Yes.
Was that from Jessica Flintoff, the clerk?
Yes.
And she asked you to stop using your personal laptop, correct?
Well, she expressed her opposition to my use of my personal computer for township business. I can't remember the exact phrase.
Do you know if any other officials use their personal devices for? Is it possible that you were the only one that used their personal devices for? If you don't know, then you just don't. Okay. And you know, as we sit here today, that your SIO Outlook has sent things in the past without your knowledge or intent. In other words, emails and at least one email, which I'll talk about in a second. But you've had an email and a calendar invite sent from your email account without your intent. Is that correct?
I guess that's correct.
Okay. And start with the calendar invite. You're aware that a calendar invite went out from your Outlook on November 15th, 2023, about 27 seconds or just seconds before the email that Mr. Carey is charged with sending out. You know that that's a fact that a calendar invite went out at around the same time. 6:08.
I'm going to object this to foundation. The question was if this went from his Outlook, and it is very specific in what I expect will come out in further evidence that one was received by someone in their Outlook coming from an email address, but it came directly from Zoom for an invitation, not from Outlook. So I'm going to object to the form of the question and the foundation because I do not believe it is appropriate. And I believe it misstates.
Response.
I'm not really sure what the legal objection is, but I'll move on and try to ask it a different way.
Well, the legal objection is that there's a lack of foundation to your question.
Okay.
So I'll sustain the objection.
Are you aware, during the course of this investigation, were you communicating with Detective Parvis?
Yes.
And did you do that through email?
I communicated with Detective Parvis in various ways. I spoke with him on the phone. I think, yes, communicated via email and
Text.
we eventually met in person. Possibly text messages as well.
You would check in with him every now and then to get updates on the investigation, correct?
Well, at first, when he was actively investigating, there was some back and forth. He was seeking access to various things, and I was trying to facilitate that for him. when he reached the conclusion of his initial investigation, in December, he communicated, and that was pretty much it. I didn't really have a lot of back and forth with him after that until he got brought back in by, I think, when the court process started and questions further discovered.
Okay. Now, as to the calendar invite that I'm talking about a calendar invite that was sent from your Outlook on November 15th of 2023. Were you questioned about that by Detective Parvis? Were you asked about that?
That I think came up when this discovery, that came up exactly, that was in October, something like that.
Right. And you admitted that this calendar invitation was part of you trying to do whatever you were trying to do on the 13th of November of 2023.
I don't know if I admitted it, but I looked into it and I determined that that's what it was related to. At first, it came to my attention actually the day after 16th. That's when the front desk clerical employee at the township notified me that she'd gotten this sort of puzzling calendar invite. And at the time, I was so focused on everything else that that didn't seem that relevant. But when Dr. Parvez was looking into it, I went back, and that's when I realized that it must have been related to the efforts to try and start the Zoom meeting for the DDA.
Do you recall sending out, like doing anything to generate that meeting invitation on November 13th of 2023?
Yeah, I think it was probably created as I was working at the trying to get Zoom started, Zoom set up for the DDA meeting. So I was sort of running back and forth between meeting hall and the shared computer there, and talking with the clerical employee out front at the other end of the township hall to try to enlist her help in getting a Zoom meeting created and a link published.
Did you attempt on November 13th, 2023, did you attempt to send a calendar invitation to Fran Zuma?
Yes, the Fran Zuma is the person I'm talking about. I can't recall all of the back and forth that occurred between 9 and 12:30 that day.
Yep.
We were frantically trying to solve this problem and kind of failing up until finally something worked around 12:20, 12:30.
Do you remember ever hitting send to try to send out this meeting request? If you remember, if you don't.
Well, like I said, I mean, I may have, I'm sure I sent things to her that day. And probably from that shared laptop computer, because that's where I was working, trying to set this.
And Mr. Arthur, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you saying you don't remember sending it? You could have sent the meeting request?
So you were trying to set a Zoom meeting, correct? And so when you're trying, counsel, when you're trying to set a Zoom meeting, the invitations will go out depending on who you have there. It's what it sounds like he's doing.
Understand.
And so I just don't want his testimony